Movie show, 10:10 Thursday night on 1, 9 o'clock on 2 on Sunday evening.
The mystery of the violent death of the 39-year-old French woman Sophie Toscan du Plantier has baffled Gardaí and stunned the quiet West Cork community where she holidayed. On tonight's Crimeline, we'll be reconstructing her last known movements and appealing for your help. That's Crimeline in half an hour after the news.
And following Crimeline, questions and answers at 10:25 comes from Wexford, and the panellists are Avril Doyle TD, Emily O'Reilly political correspondent, Ray Burke TD and Peter Dargan, the chairperson of the Consumers Association of Ireland. But now on 1, it's 9 o'clock.
A County Antrim family have a lucky escape as loyalists are blamed for bombing their van. William Jefferson Clinton is sworn in for a second term as US President. And threatening someone with a syringe is to become a criminal offence. Good evening. A Catholic couple and their 5-month-old baby daughter had what police are describing as a miraculous escape today in a suspected loyalist bomb attack at Larne in County Antrim. The couple, with their child, drove for 20 minutes through the town, not knowing that a bomb had been attached to their van. It exploded without causing injury as they reversed into a friend's driveway. The IUC say they've no idea why the family was targeted. The man's uncle was shot dead by the UFF almost 4 years ago. The incident in Larne came just 2 hours after a double bomb attack on an RUC station in the Short Strand area of East Belfast.
Once again, the RUC is saying it was a miracle no one was seriously injured or killed. The van had been driven through busy traffic across Larne for 20 minutes. The bomb had been placed under the passenger seat where 37-year-old John Shaw's girlfriend Adele was cradling their 5-month-old daughter Shona. It exploded as they were reversing into a friend's driveway at about 10:30. It's obvious from the damage caused they were lucky to survive.
Drove it 25 yards, 30 yards up the road, and put the van in reverse gear to reverse back. We turned it in the road, the van exploded. There was a massive bang, and the van just filled with smoke, and the van just went out of control and came up down, and that's what happened. I was just sort of caught unawares, like, you know.
I'm disgusted in them. Absolutely disgusted to think they would even consider even doing a thing like that. There's no consideration at all. No consideration.
The RUC simply couldn't understand why a family would be targeted.
I think it's dastardly. Anyone could see that there's any motive in attacking a young family like this. They're just going about their business. I just can't understand what somebody's trying to achieve out of this action.
Mr. Shaw's uncle was shot dead by the UFF in March 1993 on the shores of Belfast Lough. And he said one of his brothers has received death threats from the same organisation. Security sources are...
The Constitution of the United States, and in his inauguration speech, urged Americans to embrace a new spirit of community for the new century. Our Washington correspondent Mark Little has been watching the celebrations.
It was a bright new morning in Washington as thousands spilled onto the streets of the American capital to mark a unique event, a new start for a second-term president, and a ceremony bursting with patriotism. The center of attention was the steps of the majestic Capitol building and the leader of the world's most powerful democracy.
The President of the United States, the Honorable William Jefferson Clinton.
Bill Clinton joins an exclusive club today. This is the 53rd presidential inauguration.
And will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States. So help me God.
And Clinton is the first Democrat since Franklin Delano Roosevelt to be sworn in as president for a second full term. Today, President Clinton watched his trusted vice president and possible successor, Al Gore, take the oath of office. Then it was his turn. And with Chief Justice William Rehnquist, he recited those famous 35 words.
I, William Jefferson Clinton, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
That I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability.
And will, to the best of my ability.
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Good luck.
With the ceremonial high point over, President Clinton faced the crowd with his inaugural address, stressing the need for political consensus in America.
The American people returned to office a president of one party and a Congress of another. Surely they did not do this to advance the politics of petty bickering and extreme partisanship they plainly deplore.
And the president finished with a rhetorical flourish that has always marked these great events.
From the height of this place and the summit of this century, let us go forth. May God strengthen our hands for the good work ahead, and always, always bless our America.
And within the past hour, President Clinton has left the Capitol building, leading a triumphant parade along Pennsylvania Avenue, his final destination the White House, and his second term as President of the United States.
Well, that was the scene in Washington just a short time ago. Mark Little joins us now from above the White House. Mark, what's happening at the moment?
Well, in the last few minutes, President Clinton has arrived at that final destination, the White House, and the reviewing stand, which you can just see over my shoulder here. The parade will begin now. It's a parade that will involve bands from the military and a lot of participants from states all around the country. It'll last for about 4 hours if precedent is anything to go by. But the celebrations don't end there. This parade will go on for most of the afternoon. And then this evening we have 14 official inaugural balls, which the President promises to pay at least a short visit to each one. That's how his second term will begin here in Washington.
Mark, what about that inauguration speech, and particularly the emphasis, as you reported there, on bipartisanship? Does that betray, do you think, any anxiety on his part that this might be his last occasion and reason to celebrate for some time to come?
I think it does. I think people said this would be a low-key speech because it came after the excitement of '93. That couldn't be matched. They were right. This was a speech high on symbols but low on specifics. The call for the end to petty bickering between Republicans and Democrats, you should look at it another way as well. Both the House Speaker, the Republican House Speaker Newt Gingrich, and President Clinton have been the subject of attacks over ethics. And I think many people have made political capital out of this. President Clinton is calling on everyone to turn down the heat for one reason alone. He needs to get some parts of his domestic agenda through, like a reduction of the budget deficit, the end to the current social welfare system. He can only do it if he's got cooperation from Republicans. So what he's doing today was saying, okay, reduce the heat. It's the only way we're going to get reforms that will please the American people. And if we don't, then it's a plague on both our houses, Republican and Democrat.
Just a final question, and briefly if you can, Mark. We saw Hillary Clinton there in your report, very much in the role of loyal consort. But given the fact that this is now a second term, that Mr. Clinton won't be looking for re-election at the end of this period of office, does that give Hillary Clinton an opportunity to reassert a policy role in the White House?
To an extent. It will never be the same as it was at the beginning of the first term when she took control of healthcare, the big initiative of the early years of the Clinton administration. In many ways, she was the most articulate and strongest First Lady of modern times, and she was a lightning rod for many of the President's critics. She had to reduce her public role. She did it in the last year, and I don't think we're going to see her coming out very prominently in front of camera, pushing initiatives and policies, but she will be a very strong background figure, someone very supportive of her husband, and I think more now in a low-key way, rather than the very high-profile way, which brought a lot of criticism in the early years of the first administration. As you can hear behind me, a lot of screams and shouts here for the President, who we believe is just starting to speak on the reviewing stand. All
right, we'll let you wait to listen to that, and we'll hear what he's got to say later. Thanks very much indeed, Mark. Here, the government is promising new legislation to combat the widespread practice of using syringes to carry out crimes like robbery. It'll be an offence to use a syringe.
Toyota Starlet to be won, and an extra bonus with 2 Apple computers to be won by schools every month. Keep sending my minstrels. You too could be a winner.
Extra quality, extra flavor, Lyons quality tea.
Now that's what I call a perfect cup of tea.
Rich in fiber.
Goodness.
Rich in protein.
Goodness.
Rich in energy.
Goodness.
Odlums Oatflakes, the goodness breakfast.
You know you've made the right decision when your money is safely invested in a pension through Bank of Ireland. You can relax knowing that our investment managers have a proven record of high performance. Isn't it time you started your pension through Bank of Ireland?
She likes milk and it shows. She's got great muscle tone. She likes milk and it shows. Strong, healthy bones. He likes milk and it shows. Baby soft skin, bright eyes, a healthy grin. He likes milk and it shows.
Milk does a body good with vitamin A to help keep skin smooth, calcium for strong bones, and protein to help build muscle. When you drink milk, it shows.
She likes milk and it shows. It does a body good.
No arguments, Bill. Get us to Frankfurt by tomorrow morning. No problem. How about by 10:30? Can you guarantee 10:30? UPS can guarantee 8:30 if we want. Costs us a bit more. No, 10:30 is terrific. Right then, consider it done. Consider it done. Whatever happened to, oh, I don't think so, just not possible. New system. But we can always go back to the old way, sir. Oh, no, no. I'll leave you alone. Thank you, sir. You do that.
Guaranteed 10:30 and 8:30 services. Two advantages of Europe's new delivery system. UPS. Consider it done.
Hello again. Tonight's main news. Security sources in the north believe loyalists were responsible for a car bomb attack on a Catholic family in Larne today. The Minister for the Environment, Brendan Howlin, has said that planning guidelines won't be altered to facilitate Ireland's second mobile phone company, ESAT Digifone. But he said every effort would be made to accommodate the company. There have been reports that ESAT is having difficulty getting planning permission for its network of masts. It'll also feature a security video of her arrival at Cork Airport. Gardaí say they're making progress in the investigation, but feel that someone in the locality may be in possession of information which could be vital to the investigation.
It's now 4 weeks to the day since 39-year-old Madame du Plantier was found murdered in the laneway of her holiday home 8 miles from Schull in West Cork. Despite all the efforts of the Gardaí, her killer is still at large, and the motive for her murder remains a mystery. Tonight's Crimeline programme reconstructs Madame du Plantier's last known movements, from the time she arrived at Cork Airport on the Friday before Christmas, drove to her holiday home, shopped in Schull and went walking at Three Castle Head.
There was a sighting of a red car in the area of where Sophie du Plantier was walking on the Sunday the 22nd of December. We made an appeal locally for the owner of that car to come forward. So far we have not satisfactorily resolved that, even though it is purely for the purpose of elimination, and we would appeal now, once again, that that person would contact us.
According to tonight's reconstruction, Madame du Plantier had returned to her holiday home by 5:30 on Sunday evening and phoned her husband in France at 10 to 11. At 10 o'clock next morning, Monday, December 23rd, she was found beaten to death in the laneway at the front gates of her house.
We feel that whoever assaulted her might have the potential to strike again, and in addition could have bloodstains on their person or on their clothing.
And you feel that somebody perhaps might have information to that effect that could help you?
Well, indeed they could, and that is why I'm making this appeal that whoever, if anybody has information relevant to our inquiry, that they would come forward and tell us now.
Could perhaps save another life?
Exactly.
Tonight's main news again. In what police suspect was a loyalist attack, a Catholic couple and their baby daughter had a narrow escape when a bomb attached to their van exploded as they drove through Larne today. And in Washington, Bill Clinton has been sworn in for a second term as President of the United States. We leave you with some images of today's inauguration in Washington from all of us in the 9 o'clock news. A very good night to you.
Hello there and a very good evening to you. Well, generally a dry and...
I feel bugged up.
Weapon selected.